this session is for going global, and those who are
waste management is an important part of making our supply chain greener today. Okay, if we consider from the industry perspective, waste is being generated all across the production processes, and it needs to be really properly reduce, reuse and recycle. So if we look into what's really happening in the production process, I think in industry standardized process is being maintained. Okay, but the most important part is here, depending on which industry we are really talking about. And if we look into the manufacturing sector, because in manufacturing sector we use a standardized process, so there is less issue to start with, I would say. But still we require to really do loads of improvement. Okay, right from the sourcing the raw material through the production process, and how we are reusing and recycling it. So there are loads of things to really learn, and for which we have started our work with the industry, making an industry academia collaboration, and trying to really understand that how we could really bring the resource efficiency across the supply chain. So we require to source the material in a way that so that we can really use as regenerative material, okay, which tells us to really keep the resources within the cycle on and on. And if we look into the practices and try to really compare between the Indian practices and the practices in Britain or North America or in other European country, we would see that there are room for improvement from the Indian practices perspective. Okay, so if we look at because India being in the emerging economy, they require to really give emphasis more on the economic outcome than the environmental and social outcome. So it is knowingly and unknowingly we try to really source the material where we give emphasis to the economy over environmental and social part. So if we change that philosophy or change that perception, then there would be definitely improvement. Now if we look into in the production processes, we require to really look into both resource efficiency and energy efficiency. And again, energy, less energy efficient and resource efficient process is having more efficiency than the environmental and social performance. So we require to really make trade-off there also. So going for the advanced technology where we are using more greener approach, we require to really emphasize on that. So there are room for improvement as well. I'm trying to really talk on where there are room for improvement in the sourcing materials, and there's a room for improvement across the production processes, and there are room for improvement how we dispose our waste and how we recycle it. Okay, there are room for improvement all across. Now how we sometimes in most of the cases industry, that while they get the waste at the end, and they are happy to really throw it off, but it could really get the enormous amount of value from the waste. So we have looked into few industries, and we have seen that it could really get value out of it, and if we dispose that in the environment, it could really produce bad impact, pollution as for example, both air and water pollution. So we need to really look at that aspect. And if we see the Indian industrial practices now, there are huge room for improvement. Now I would like to really mention about the water uses. Okay, in many industry we use water enormously, and how we use the water and how we recycle and reuse water is important here also. But every activity will have the negative impact of huge capital investment, but we are trading it off by contributing to the environment. Sometimes it doesn't come in our profit account and that, but we require to really be first of all, should be environmentally conscious. And but there is a role of policymakers here also. They require to really create a level playing field, and this level playing field will not only regulate all the industry to reduce the waste and utilize it properly, and there should be carbon credit and carbon tax implemented there. So policymaker can really come forward and do it in order to make a level playing field, and in order to really promote it and practice it within the in the industrial setup.